So what's happened in my studio this week? Well, if you subscribe to me on YouTube, you know that there are a ton of new videos. I've been putting up the tracks for volume 1 of the Guitar Lesson Companion. I've been recreating many of those tracks to make them more fun to play on. I used iReal Pro to do the first round of tracks, and iReal Pro is great. You can change the tempo, you can change the feel or the instrumentation, but they all, I don't know, they have kind of a robotic feel to them, and I wanted to create something a little bit more organic. So I've got those new tracks up. There's 127 of them. Most of them are done. By the time you see this video, hopefully they will all be done. And I've also created a couple other playlists. One includes jam tracks for all 12 major keys, and I've done these with the idea of giving you a lot of time to stretch out. So each one is about 20 minutes long, and the chords are there so you can see them go by as the chord progression plays. I've also got 12 different drones, bass drones, and those are really fun. You know, if you're practicing different scales, or you want to kind of have a meditative experience with warming up, or you want to experiment with some different modes, they're great. Another thing that I've come up with are some jazz jam tracks. These are 2-5-1s for the most part, but I'll be building out more as we go. And in them, what's unique about them is that you have about 2 minutes for each key. So you really get some solid practice on each key. But that also means that to cover all 12 keys, we can do that in about 25 to 30 minutes. I do have some built-in breaks in there too, so you can give your hands a bit of a rest. But there's not a kind of break that allows you to go check your phone, look at your email, that kind of thing. And the idea here was to give students the opportunity to just have a solid practice session going through all the keys, working out whatever concept they're working on with no distraction. So I'm hoping that folks find that helpful. One thing that's come up in my studio this week with a few students is the relative minor keys. And I just want to relate kind of a simple concept that I think is pretty helpful when people are first starting out with major scales and minor pentatonic scales. And here's my pro tip for you. I came up with this years ago. So I think of the major scale as the parent scale. And since I was an English major, I like alliteration a lot. So I like laughing at my own jokes too. So I think of that C major scale as the parent scale. So I'm going to put my pinky, which is the letter P, there's the alliteration. So my pinky goes on the parent scale of the note C. And what that means is that if I just lay my other 3 fingers down naturally on the fretboard, where my first finger ends up is the relative minor. And if you know your notes on the low E string, you know that that is A. So you could play an A minor pentatonic scale, and the relative major for that, where your pinky is, that would be where you would start your major scale. So that would be a C major scale there. So if you're playing in the key of E major, you know, here's your E string root, E major scale, and you wanted to find the relative minor of that, you would put your pinky on the note E, and then where your first finger falls naturally, that's C sharp. So the relative minor of E is C sharp. Now, if you were thinking of, let's do the key of B flat minor. So we're playing B flat minor and minor pentatonic there. And you wanted to know, oh, I'm scheduled to teach. Turn that off. And you wanted to know B flat minor. You wanted to know the relative major for that. That would be D flat major. And so my second finger goes on the note D flat. So B flat is where my first finger is for the minor pentatonic scale, and then where my pinky is, that is the relative major. So I hope that tip makes sense. I gotta go run and teach. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time.